So I'm here at the British Design Museum with Steve Sargent, who is Triumph's Chief Product Officer, and we're here at the reveal of the brand new, never seen before, Triumph Trident. And I have to say, well done, Steve and Miles and the team. You kept us all completely in the dark. Normally when we come to launches, we pretty much know what we're looking at, but in this case, we didn't have a clue. And what we have before us is, well, actually, mostly the answer is we'd love to tell you, but then we'd have to kill you. Because Steve, you're not giving anything away. What can you tell us about this bike other than that it looks like this and it's a triple?
So we can tell you it's definitely a triple. That's the reason why we've called it a Trident. Obviously, the Trident is a very iconic name for Triumph triples of the past, and it's a name that we've used to indicate that we're coming into a class with something a little bit different from what everybody else has got in that class. So what we can tell you is that in terms of where we're intending to sit with this bike, we're going to be competing against things like the Kawasaki Z650, the Honda CV650R, and the MT-07. So in terms of an ambition, that gives you an idea that what this motorcycle is all about is creating an entry point into the Triumph range for, hopefully, new customers.
So you've listed off 3 really popular models, the kind of bikes that roll into the bike shed all the time, those kind of first proper big, this is my first grown-up motorcycle model. So I guess I have to assume, and I know you can't tell me, that in terms of capacity and pricing, you're going to be aiming in the direction of those particular bikes.
Yeah, so it's certainly in the ballpark of those bikes that we've just mentioned. So we're not going to tell you the exact capacity. I'll leave you guessing with that.
When can you tell us?
It'll be a few weeks' time. But yeah, it won't be too long before we start revealing the specs of the bikes. But I think in terms of the ambition, you're about right.
Because you're saying these are going to be in the dealers in 2021 this spring?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty quick.
Yeah,
considering
that's pretty quick.
You can't tell us the spec yet. So
yeah.
I assume the bike is ready to go, right?
So the bike is very advanced. So what you've got here is a prototype machine. It's a combination of production parts, some rapid prototype parts, some machined from solid parts, and obviously there are 1 or 2 existing parts on the motorcycle as well.
So it's very bold to present a motorcycle completely painted white. I'll get out of the way a little bit. Because normally, motorcycle design is all about compromise. It's all about hiding the ugly things that the bureaucrats make us put on bikes to make them work properly and not pollute the universe. And what it means is you've presented the bike in a way where there's absolutely nothing to hide. I mean, you'd almost kind of argue that this is the worst the bike could ever look because nothing's hidden. It's all on show. What was the thinking behind presenting it to us like this?
I mean, you know us long enough, Dutch, to know that at Triumph, what we try to do is to hide all of that stuff that you don't really want to see on a motorcycle, because we're all about emphasizing the complete design of the motorcycle and the integration of that design with the engineering. So that's something that we really, really focus on in Triumph is, you know, how do you get the styling and the look of the bike that you want and marry that with the engineering that really, really works as a motorcycle that you want to ride. So we've painted this in white because that, I think, shows the confidence of the design that we've come up with. And we just want to show the purity and the elegance of the forms of the motorcycle. So we don't want to distract that with any colors, graphics, any finishes of it. Let's just allow people to see the motorcycle in terms of the pure forms that we were trying to deliver.
I mean, what I'm seeing, I mean, obviously you've got quite a modern set of shapes in terms of sort of, especially from the headstock back. It's very kind of street triple in some degree, but even more simplified, super clean back end. And then obviously it's, you know, it's upside down forks and it's double discs up front. And so it's clearly a very modern machine. But then in terms of styling cues, you've also got this very simple single round headlight. You've got this simple single round speedo. So you've got very much a modern retro design. Is that a fair comment? Is that what you guys were aiming to do?
That's exactly what we were trying to do with this bike. So what we've looked at is the bikes that we've currently got in our range and how we've evolved some of those bikes in the past. So if you look at how we've evolved the Speed Twin, for example, to take the modern classics forward in one direction, but you can only take that model a certain distance away from its roots, if you like. What we wanted to do was to push it a little bit further. So what we've tried to do with this bike is basically take the essence of that kind of contemporary modern classic like a Speed Twin, but really marry it to that kind of muscularity that you get out of something like a Speed Triple.
I mean, that is what it looks like in terms of a design point of view, regardless of engine size and market segment that you're aiming to hit. Design-wise, it is, you know, Speed Twin meets Street Triple, and you've left them in a room on their own for a couple of weeks, and this is what pops out as a sort of a stroppy teenager ready to take on the world and take on the MT-07.
That's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. Obviously, mostly what we want to know is all the stuff you can't tell us: engine capacity, weight. I assume we're going to have some top-notch components on there, since people do like badges and labels.
Yeah, well, as you see, we've put upside-down forks on it. You probably can see there are Nissin calipers on the bike. We've got some nice technology. Obviously, you can see something quite modern on the front end of the bike. That's got some nice technology in it that we can't talk about today. But yeah, we've got some top-notch components.
Well, I mean, obviously, everybody's going to want to know more. I certainly look forward to finding out a little bit more. And thanks for inviting us along to take a peek.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.